Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Scott.
Hey, yo. Is that his younger brother? It's gonna be
Jeff.
The cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
And you're listening to
all of the great action figures from our good friends at Hasbro.
The Fully Poseable.
Have your own Wrestlemania with all your favorite figures.
Wrestling figure.
Each sold separately from LJN.
Podcast.
And we are the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling.
Hey, welcome to episode 221 of the Fully Poseable Wrestling Figure Podcast, the longest running episodic wrestling figure podcast going today. For over 4 years, a revolutionary force in wrestling figure podcast entertainment. My name is Jeff. Sitting alongside next to me is my real life brother, not storyline brother, Scott. Scott, say hello.
Hello.
Scott, how are you doing over there, man?
I'm doing well. I'm doing really well. It's still a work in progress, trying to get used to this whole scheduling thing and working from home. And Peyton's got Zoom dances a couple times a day, Monday to Friday. And it's weird getting into the swing of not leaving the house. That's a really weird thing to get used to. I mean, of course, blessed, we have plenty of toilet paper and paper towels and Kleenex and food and water, and we're all good on that. And we've got good internet, and we're comfortable. But it's a weird thing to get into the habit of not leaving the house and being social. Like, all of our social interactions now are over Zoom, and here you and I are on FaceTime talking, and it's different. Is this the new normal? I don't think so, but for the time being it is. But aside from that, it's also tough not doing toy spotting. So just weird, and I kept saying that it's such a good time to be a wrestling figure collector, and man, it's pulled the rug right out from under us. So it's a lot of just online shopping and not really going to stores and doing the toy spotting that way. And it's the new normal. I just don't know how long that is. So it's just a waiting game. But, again, blessed that we have everything we need under our roof here, so we're fine. But just trying to get used to this new way of life, as I'm sure a lot of our listeners are. It's definitely taking some getting used to. And to those of you that are essential and still have to go to work every day, you don't have the option to work from home, thank you. It's not easy. Whether you work in a grocery store, a convenience store, fast food place, you're in the medical industry, whatever it is you might be doing that makes you essential, thank you.
Yeah, Candace, Ty's wife, and Tara, they're medical, and also Soda Hunter's wife. They're all right in the thick of it. So our thoughts are with you over there. Stay safe as best as you can. You're right, Scott. It is so weird right now. Just sitting in, like I was just telling you before we started recording, I'm watching a bunch of NWA Saturday nights and doing the Clash of Champions and pay-per-views in between so I can keep up on the Saturday nights, which is great. But it's like, is this the new norm? What's the world going to be like when eventually that this does calm down? We just don't know, but that's what everybody's thought process is as of April 9th right now. So who knows, dude?
Yeah, and we just had the first ever WrestleMania with 0 people in attendance. So yeah, it's definitely a weird time. By the way, I mean, not to get too far off topic here, but what did you think of WrestleMania?
Night 1 I enjoyed. Night 2 wasn't bad. I didn't think it was great, but I didn't think it was bad. So overall, I'm just happy there's wrestling on right now.
Yeah.
Without football, okay, football doesn't start till later this year, so we'll just nix football right now. But without baseball, hockey, and basketball, no sports on, I'm blessed that I enjoy wrestling and that there is wrestling on. I'm glad that AEW is on. I'm glad NXT is on. I'm glad SmackDown is on. And I'm thankful that I enjoy wrestling, that I have some form of live entertainment right now.
Yeah, it's definitely, I wouldn't say it's a great time to be a wrestling fan, but at least we have it. You're absolutely right about that. And I agree with you. I enjoyed night 1 more than I did night 2. A lot of people were really negative on that Firefly Funhouse match. But if you look at what they were trying to do, I enjoyed it. I even enjoyed it without really getting it at first, what they were trying to do. I was like, okay, this is cool. It's like all these different versions of Cena, but even like just following along with the match, but then reading afterwards exactly what they were trying to do, I enjoyed it without completely 100% getting what they were trying to do. And then after I read what they were doing, I was like, oh yeah, that's totally cool. Like, it made me enjoy it even a little bit more. But I definitely enjoyed night one more. The Boneyard match was just incredible. That was just great. It was very Lucha Underground, the whole scripted and the filming thing. But I really enjoyed the Boneyard match. It was cool. Like, Charlotte winning was a huge shock to me. Becky going over Shayna was a huge shock to me. I didn't really care for the Drew and Brock match. And I really, really hated the Goldberg and Strowman match. The matches where they're just throwing finishers at each other, that doesn't do anything for me. It really, in my opinion, and again, this is 100% my opinion. I don't like the throwing of the finishers at each other for an entire match because it devalues the finisher, right? Brock hit, 4 F5s on Drew? Yeah. He beat Kofi with 1. How does that make Kofi look? After Kofi's amazing title run, Brock beats him in 9 seconds? We're talking SD Jones and King Kong Bundy territory here with 1 F5, but it takes 4 and he still doesn't beat Drew. I mean, and you do those kind of things and you start thinking back, okay, Undertaker couldn't kick out of 3 F5s, right? And Strowman hits Goldberg with 4 power slams and just lame. I don't really care for those matches. And so the actual 2 title matches, the men's title matches, were throwaways for me. I didn't care for them at all. But I thought the Bayley 5-way match was great. I love Charlotte and Rhea. That was just awesome. And Becky and Shayna was really good too. And the ending of that was very shocking to me. So overall, I enjoyed WrestleMania. It was what it was. That's all they could do with it, right? You either postpone it or you have it in an empty arena or the Performance Center. They went the route that they had to. At first, I was like, they really should have postponed this. But the more I was sitting through it, I really enjoyed it. And night 2, I was actually really looking forward to night 2. And I'll be honest too, I really like that they split it in half because 8 hours of one show is a lot. You're at work for 8 hours a day, right? But when you split it into 2 separate, that made it a little more palatable. And I was able to invest a little more in the matches. And I woke up Sunday, it was like waking up Christmas morning again. I got 2 Christmases out of WrestleMania this year. So overall, I really, really enjoyed it. Like you said, Jeff, it's cool to be a wrestling fan right now because we actually do have that form of entertainment. So #blessed. And I really, really did enjoy WrestleMania this year.
Yeah, I thought it was good, man. I'm not going to say it was great, but I mean, for what they had to work with, I thought it was really good. By the way, what were they doing with the Firefly Funhouse? Because we were confused over here.
So it was kind of pointing a finger at what if Cena had turned heel? And what if Cena had failed in that prototype Kurt Angle challenge match? And what if he did hit Bray Wyatt with the chair in their match at WrestleMania 30? It was all like the opposite of what actually happened, right? And then they kind of took a dig at his bodybuilding past where he couldn't move his arms and that thing with behind the cage. And then Bray beat him. And a lot of people are like, well, shoot, does that mean Cena's retiring? Like he disappeared at the end of the match? I don't know if that's necessarily what it means, but after reading what they were going for, I had already enjoyed it as it was. But after reading what they were going for, I enjoyed it even more.
Okay, we were confused over here, dude. We were like, did Cena just lose, or did he just dissipate like Thanos? What's going on over here?
Yeah, Bray snapped and Cena was gone. Yeah, once I saw what they were going for, I enjoyed it even more. I know a lot of people at first like, what in the hell was that? Like a buddy of mine texted me. The match was like a minute in. Well, if you can even call it a match. It was a minute in. He's like, I hate this shit already. I'm like, dude, see what they're going for. Like, don't knock it yet. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. And I'm wondering when we're going to get a Cena NWO figure.
Oh, I know that one's on the docket right now.
It has to be, right?
That was one of the first things I thought of because I was making a mental list of figures that I would like from WrestleMania. And obviously Seth's garb I thought was really cool.
Very cool, yes.
And Cena and the NWO, I thought that was also another one that I'd be like, yeah, make this one happen, please.
Oh, definitely. Rhea Ripley in her white gear, I think that would be a must. Charlotte, of course. Yeah, there was definitely some cool ring gear, dude. But what about a Titus figure with his facial expression exactly as it was after the Firefly Funhouse match?
Because that's what everybody was thinking after the Firefly Funhouse.
Dude, at least like 85% of wrestling fans, after I was reading Facebook after the match, that was like the general expression of everybody that watched that. Like 85% at least were just like, Titus face. Like, what in the hell did I just watch? But I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool.
If you would like to get any of our past t-shirts, any of them at all, or our new current listener card back series 3, head on over to whatamaneuver.net. You can also pick up our other t-shirts over at Pro Wrestling Tees. We also have 8x10s for sale, but also we still want you guys to support independent wrestlers. They entertain us, so we want you guys to go throw money their way, high spots. These small companies we want you guys to support if you guys have the money to do so. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat, and the Book of Faces at FullyPoseable, Instagram, FullyPoseable WFP. You can go back and listen to any of our past podcasts on FullyPosablePodcast.com. Download that Podbean app if you are on the go. Stitcher, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Please rate and review on iTunes. Scott, we haven't gotten another written review, but we have gotten some more 5-star ratings, which we greatly appreciate. If
thank you guys.
Click on the 5 stars. That's greatly appreciated as well. So thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
But if you guys want to leave a review, we will read that as well on the show. 5 stars, 3 stars, 1 star, 2 stars, or 4 stars, we will read it. That was not in numerical order, Scott.
You're all over the map there. Well done.
You can send us any audio questions, or anything else at all to fullyposablewfp@gmail.com. Scott, we have a new sponsor. Who you got?
Yes. Jeff, I'm going to get into a little bit of a sensitive area here. Yeah? All right, so that wasn't bad for the first one right out of the gate, right?
Yeah. That's a little tame joke.
I'm sure people have already seen on our social media accounts. We are now sponsored by Manscaped, who are the best in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. So, Jeff, I don't know if you really are feeling this one, but would you like to share maybe an injury you've gotten from trimming? Because look, we're all dudes. Well, most of the people who listen to the show are dudes. To the ladies, thank you. But Jeff, would you like to share with our listeners maybe a time that you've had an injury while trimming up?
I did cut my nipple one time. That sucked.
Wait a second. So you're trimming downstairs and you cut your nipple.
No, I wasn't trimming downstairs. I was actually kind of up in the chesticle area.
Oh, you were trimming up to... Oh, okay, gotcha. I thought maybe you were trimming downstairs and like tweaking one of your nips. And I'm like, dude, whatever you're into, but I don't know if you want to share that with our listeners.
No. I'll save that story for next week or something. But no, I was upstairs. Because Manscaped also has tools for upstairs as well. So I was shaving around the nipples and, I cut one and it sucked. So I thought I cut off my nipple and I was bleeding profusely like Abdullah the Butcher back in the day, or Jay Briscoe, whatever it may be. And, that sucked, wearing a shirt for the next 2 days.
I can imagine. So I also have a crappy trimming tool, and every time that I have to use it, I dread it. Because there have been a couple of times where I have nicked myself and I have to be like super, super careful every time I do it. The saving grace of it, it has a vacuum on it. And so it makes it handy so that like everything isn't like falling on the floor or in the garbage can. So the vacuum really comes in handy, but it's getting to the point where I need to upgrade. I can't keep using this thing and chancing blood loss. That's not where you want to experience blood loss, folks. It's really not. So... That is why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team spent 18 months perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created and just released the new and improved, are you ready? Lawnmower 3.0. So the way I'm reading this is, it's good if you have to like tear down a forest or just hedge the trim a little bit. You know what I mean? Their third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to prevent manscaping accidents, as you and I both discussed, Jeff. Millions of balls, millions, are about to be nick-free thanks to Manscaped's advanced skin-safe technology. Now they have piqued my interest. Manscaping accidents are finally a thing of the past. Thank goodness. Again, the only saving grace of the one I've got is that vacuum, and I'm ready to throw that thing against the wall. When I tell you this is premium, I mean premium. The battery will last up to 90 minutes, so you can take a longer shave. One of the coolest features is the LED light, which illuminates grooming areas for a closer and more precise trimming. Jeff, I'm assuming this is getting down to the taint area now.
Yeah. Like when you read Bane's beard oil and you always say your butt hair smelling like your beard hair or your beard hair smelling like your butt hair, whatever it may be.
Yes.
You're not going to have butt hairs anymore, dude.
Well, especially now because it's lighted or lit, or it has a light so you can actually see where you're going in the cave. I'm really, well, I mean, not in the cave. Okay. Around the cave is where we're lighting up here, folks, and trimming. They've also upgraded to a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology. And let's not forget about the charging stand. Show your mower off loud and proud because this intelligently designed stand is a convenient charging dock powered by USB. If you are listening to me speak right now, I want you to experience it firsthand for yourself. Trim that junk of yours. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code WFP20 at Manscaped. That's MANSCAPED.com, because Jeff, your balls will thank you. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code WFP20 at Manscaped. That's MANSCAPED.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code WFP20. And Jeff, your balls are going to thank you.
Look, guys, here's the thing. When this quarantine life is over, the Tinder dates are going to be lined up, right? So, look, we've got to get that stuff trimmed up. Why not jump on it now? 20% off your entire order. Get that stuff trimmed up. And then, when it comes time for the hibbity,
Is that where your nipple bleeds? Is that the hibbity?
No, that's an ouchie.
That's the hibbity hop when you do your nipple tweaking and you get the blood. Okay, I'm on board.
Right.
Yes, but the hibbity is something else entirely.
Remember, manscaped.com, code WFP20 at checkout.
And you don't want to use cheap tools down there, right? Like if it's a veritable forest down there, you got to trim your hairs. You just do. And you don't want to use a cheap trimmer because if you do, it just looks like a dumpster fire, a garbage fire happened around your junk. Like you just don't want that. It's not a good look. Make it uniform, make it nice, get your lawnmower 3.0, get to work down there, and impress your partner.
That's right. Manscaped.com, WFP20. Scott, did you do any finger poke of doom on the internet?
Wow. That is a weird follow-up to that skit.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, Scott, did you do any finger poke of doom on the internet? We're not doing toy spotting right now. We don't want you guys going out do a toy spotting or going out unless you are out looking for essentials, which right now we don't recommend. Hopefully you stocked up for 2 weeks. But if you guys are doing finger poke of doom on the interwebs, we want to hear about it. So, Scott, are you doing any finger poke of doom?
Well, I'm actually a little gun shy of the finger poke of doom right now, and I'll tell you why. I've been talking about those G.I. Joe figures a lot. And I'm sorry, guys, if you're not into G.I. Joe again, I apologize, but I am into it, and that's kind of what I've been looking at. Because luckily, the Fig Life has taken care of me on all of my wrestling figures, so I'm up to speed right now. But the G.I. Joe figures, they came out with that Snake Eyes on Pulse Secure. Sold out. Going for hundreds of dollars, right? Well, like $150. On Mercari and eBay, you can't find it for less than $100. So I was able to find the site, Zavvi.com, and they had them in. So I ordered them finally. Same price as what Hasbro Pulse Secure had them at. Unfortunately, I got an email from them like 3 days after I ordered it. Cannot fulfill order. We don't have access to any more stock. Sorry for you. Crushed. Just absolutely crushed. I hit up Breaker. We kind of cried together. And so anyway, it looks like either I'm going to have to pony up for the exclusive one. It's going to run me a bill or two. Or I just wait for the basic one to come out and pay $20 for it. So I'm on the fence right now again, kicking myself that I didn't just buy it on Pulse Secure when I should have. So I'm kind of down in the dumps on my whole toy spotting and finger poke of doom right now. So sorry to bring the show down after that whole ball talk, but down on the finger poke of doom.
Same over here, man. Really not finding much. We'll talk about this later on in the show and just kind of give you guys a heads up. Axxess news is going to take up the entire show. So we will get the listeners in next week. We'll get nostalgia in next week. We will get all of that in. next week. But this week it's going to be Axxess reveals and Steve Ozer Q&A from the Wrestling Figs message board. The Decade of Dominance figures are up on Walmart right now.
Yes,
Walmart.com. So if you guys really want to show Walmart, hey, look, we support these figures. We support Mattel, WWE line, all that stuff. We recommend you guys go pre-order them. They say on Walmart that's going to be in, I believe, August 8th or 18th. I can't remember which one exactly it was, but it will be in sometime in August. But this is a good way to show, hey, you guys should do more pre-orders up on your website like this so we have access or shots at getting figures. So that is one thing I would highly recommend if there are any Series 1 Decade of Dominance figures that you are looking for. Decade of Dominance? Domination? Decadence? Decade of Decadence.
That was a Motley Crue album, wasn't it?
Oh, that was a Motley Crue album. Oh, never mind then.
Decade of Decadence.
So, anyways, I thought that was kind of cool that they put the pre-orders up, so I recommend heading on over there. Scott, we also received something in the mail this past Monday, which we were not expecting at all. And you were in on FaceTime to see the reveal, and apparently I blocked your face.
Oh, dude, I got all dolled up for nothing.
And I know you wore a Sharks hat, dude.
I know, I was rocking it.
And Celeste had the camera turned upside down because I thought it was like a normal YouTube video where you turn the camera sideways and it would film without the black bars on the side.
Right.
No, that's not the case. Whoops. We're still new to this Twitter live thing, so give us a few moments. We'll get it right one of these days. But Scott, would you like to go into what we received from our Fig Life listeners?
Yeah, and this was supposed to happen at the Fig Life meetup, and unfortunately, due to current events, that got canceled. But Soda didn't feel right saving it until next year, so he said, screw it, we're just going to do it, I'm going to ship it out, and that's where we had the Twitter Live. Soda and all of the listeners who contributed to it, out of the goodness of their heart, and Jeff, this is just what blows me away about having this podcast and connecting with so many people. This is what absolutely blows me away every time. You guys gave us 2 retro rings. Both of them were Soda's custom WFP ring, which is the black with our WFP shield, which is our new logo, by the way, with the WFP shield in the middle, custom turnbuckles with the WFP on each pad, custom stickers, the whole bit. But the kicker was the box art on the front was drawn up by Jason Wolf and is somewhat similar to the 8x10 that we offer of Jeff and I playing with figures. But this one is of Jeff and I as younger. I would say you're about 7 in the photo, Jeff. I'm about 11 or 12.
No, I think we were younger. I think you were 10 and I was 5.
Okay, so you were 5 in that one. But what had happened is Celeste and Shannon sent Jason Wolf some photos. Jason Wolf took those photos, and they were of you and I at that age, and basically recreated us playing with the card back figures. I was holding my figure, you were holding your figure. So much like when we were kids, playing with ourselves. Sitting there holding our own figures. We had the ring in front of us with a bunch of the card back figures in it. I know GBM was in there. Soda was in there. We had a Shannon figure, a Celeste figure. And that was the box art. But it was us as kids. And the best part is that is the whole basis of this show. It's why this show was created. When we were kids playing with wrestling figures, that spawned the passion that here we are 30 plus years later. The passion is still there. It hasn't dissipated at all. That's kind of the kickoff to where the show is today. So that box art is really like chapter 1. And it really grabbed me, and just the thought that went into it between Kevin's vision and just wanting to do something nice for you and I, Jeff, and for him to hand this vision off to Jason Wolf to make this box art a thing. But then for Kevin to reach out to different listeners and be like, hey, who wants to jump in? And without hesitation, a bunch of people just jumped in and made it happen. And in turn, Jeff, you and I each got a ring, custom made by Kevin, the box art custom made by Jason Wolf. And I'm blown away. I was trying to find words when we were on the Twitter Live, but how do you? I mean, being given a gift like that is just incredible. Because as I've always said, we're not celebrities. You know, we're just two guys who love wrestling figures, and at Jeff's idea of making a podcast about it, here we are almost 4.5 years later, still talking about wrestling figures. And you guys have just been the engine behind it that have kept it going. And then you do something like this. It warms my heart. It's never taken for granted. And you guys, you mean the world to us. I've said it so many times. You're the backbone of the Fig Life, and we have the best listeners in podcast. And I just can't say enough good things about you. I can't say thank you enough for this gift, because again, it means the world to me when you guys do things like this. And you are 100% the reason that this show goes on.
So everybody that was involved with getting this put together, Breaker, Bane, and by the way, we thank you guys each. Breaker, Bane, Eric, Barry, Tara,
Jeff,
Barry.
Thank you.
Good Sister Tara, Toy Guru, Rad Chad, Mike the Cleaner, Tim, A Chair Shot, Drew Venzel, Nate, a.k.a. Ring Skirts, Ralphie Vibes, Jordan Cassat, Hova, Ethan, James Frank, and GBM. This is awesome. I can't even say enough good things about it. I mean, just the picture on the front, I couldn't get over. The custom artwork of the picture was just jaw-dropping. I mean, it had my bowl cut.
Yes, it did.
It had Scott's shit-eating grin when he was a kid.
Hey.
It was perfect. And holding figures of ourselves was just like future selves was awesome, dude.
That's the best part. Yeah.
Hova with his Series 1 Hasbro card back with the big hands, and it says the big mark on the shirt. Shannon, Celeste, Soda, just everybody on the box art. It was awesome from top to bottom. There were so many Easter eggs that I missed on the live unboxing. I just couldn't find the words. I was like, oh my God. And then Soda goes, oh yeah, there's also Easter eggs in there. I was like, wait, what? And I was like, oh yeah, there is. You know, it says Fully Poseable 2016 or 4+ years, or there's so many Easter eggs on that box art, and it's just absolutely amazing. The thought process of each and every one of you guys to, you know, have something in there. I don't know. I can't say enough good things about it, man. Again, thank you so much. And Shannon and Celeste being able to keep that quiet for this since June of last year. Amazing.
Yeah, how do you keep a secret that long? Like, I'm blown away by that piece too. Like, nobody said a word between Soda, between Jason Wolf, and we've done a couple of commissions through him in the interim that he was working on. And he hit me up and he's like, dude, I almost slipped. There was one time when he almost slipped on something and he didn't. Like, he kept it solid. Soda, Jason Wolf, Shannon, Celeste, everybody involved from Ralphie to GBM to Hova, like you all kept it a secret. Like, that's incredible to have that many people involved and not say a word. It's crazy. Like, you guys just blow me away. I can't say enough good things about you. I can't thank you enough, and I can't tell you how much this means to Jeff and I when you guys do things like this. Again, it's never taken for granted. And it's just so cool to see that box front, Jeff. Like you said, it's our younger selves holding ourselves from today. And it's such a cool bridge between what spawned the show to where the show is today. And I just love that front, the box front. It's just, it's so perfect. And I can't thank you guys enough.
It really is, man. And thank you guys so much. They were taking bets on who was going to cry at the meetup. And I said you, but apparently everybody's money was on me.
Oh.
I still say you would have. You cried during Shawn Michaels' last match.
Okay. Yes, I did. Also when the LOD went into the Hall of Fame.
And Shawn Michaels going into the Hall of Fame.
Right, but LOD got me first. Because you and Ed and I had a wager going over who was going to cry first at that Hall of Fame, because the three of us went. And we all thought that Ed was going to go first. But if you guys were paying attention, I would have lost when LOD was getting inducted. And do you know what did it to me, Jeff?
I know exactly, but go ahead.
When they put the Hawk figure on the podium, that's what got me choked up. Everybody that listens to this show regularly, they know how much I love the Road Warriors. Favorite tag team of all time, hands down. There's no comparison to anybody else. It's the Road Warriors, the Legion of Doom. So I was already going to be emotional for their Hall of Fame, but I was doing great. No issues. And then they put that Hawk Hasbro figure on the podium. If you and Ed had been looking, I would have been out. I would have not been last man standing. I would have been out right there, dude. That really got me. Like the Shawn Michaels thing was what it was, but they got me when they put that Hawk figure on the podium. But you know what? Had I been there with you guys live, it very well may have been me.
I wasn't looking at you. I was falling asleep because that trip was exhausting.
No rest for the wicked on that trip for sure.
Again, everybody involved, Shannon Celeste for getting the photo shots and everything of Scott and I as kids, to Soda, to Ralphie Vibe, to everyone. I don't want to leave anyone out. Thank you guys so much. That is one of the greatest gifts we've ever received, if not the greatest gift. I don't know. Also, speaking of Drew Venzel and good sister Tara, Drew Venzel got me a Hulk Hogan Jax Classic with the red and yellow.
Oh, the Series 8?
Yeah, Series 8. Thank you. I thought it was Series 8, but I kept thinking Series 9 in for some reason in my head. But
oh, nice. Which title belt comes with it?
It's the Winged Eagle.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Nice, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking, because that one came with 2 different titles.
It did, yes.
It came with the Winged Eagle and what was supposed to be something reminiscent of the second title, not the big ugly green one, but that next one that looked like the NWA television title.
Right. Yep.
And then also, I can't thank good sister Tara enough. She got me the Eddie and Ray Deluxe Classic 2-pack.
Dude.
Unbelievable. That was one that I didn't think I was ever going to put into my collection. And they had me doing a live unboxing. And that one the camera was correct for, but not ours. But anyways, my face, I just couldn't believe it. I was holding this Deluxe Classic Eddie and Ray Halloween Havoc 2-pack.
Dude, you sent me that picture, and I was like, who did you kill? Like, I couldn't believe that you got your hands on it. Like, that's one that you've always talked about kicking yourself for not picking up. And you sent me the picture of you holding it. I'm like, holy crap, dude, that's incredible. That is so awesome that she did that for you.
Dude, I cannot thank Drew and Tara enough for their birthday gifts for me. So, guys, thank you. You've made this week special. Thank you so much. Scott, we do have a little bit of news to get into. What do you say we jump into it?
Let's talk about it.
Oh, you gonna learn today.
Scott, we love those people over at FOCO. What you got for them?
Jeff.
Yeah?
Do you want to prove you're the undisputed world heavyweight champion of WWE fandom? Of course you do. Foco.com is here to help. With Foco's WWE bobbleheads, you can visit Suplex City with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, let in the Fiend Bray Wyatt, and break some glass with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Foco's line of WWE bobbleheads includes all your favorite superstars and legends from then, now, and forever, including Becky Lynch, The Rock, Ric Flair, John Cena, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Ronda Rousey, Andre the Giant, and more. These bobbleheads from Foco are handcrafted and hand-painted to depict the biggest names in sports entertainment, making them must-haves for fans and collectors alike. Don't miss out on these awesome collectibles. Head to Foco.com now. That's FOCO.com. One more time, FOCO.com, where at checkout you can use code WFP10 and save 10% on anything and everything in your cart. Again, FOCO.com. Fill up your cart and at checkout use code WFP10. Save yourself a sweet 10%.
We love being part of that FOCO family, and guys, they have so many bobbleheads over there. If you're a sports fan, go check it out. Even Ray on Twitter, he's called Lockdown Ray now because he's on lockdown, but he said right now would be the best time to start putting together some of those baseball stadiums and football stadiums that they have available that are similar to Lego. Head on over there, use code WFP10 to get 10% off your order. Scott, Axxess reveals still went on over on WWE.com.
They did, and so can I just throw in real quick? Somebody last week had sent in a question about this. Like, what's going to be the best way for reveals? And instead of doing like a video conferencing thing, they just dropped the pictures. So like, here's the images. Just take it and go. The crazy part was we were supposed to have reveals, I believe it was, Jeff, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, but really it was just Thursday.
Thursday was the big day reveal. It seemed like they were dropping little stuff afterwards, like, spoiler alert, Masters of the Universe Series 3, some basic series. But yeah, it seemed like Thursday was just, here you guys go, here's everything, and enjoy.
Yeah, Thursday was definitely the meat and potatoes of what you're about to get into. But we were debating putting out a special episode, but when Thursday ended up being the good chunk of it, it was just like, okay, let's just wait until next week because they didn't offer enough. Now, had there been a whole slew of stuff to talk about, we definitely would have done a special episode for you guys. But the big meat and potatoes was Thursday. That's what we're going to get into. Man, it makes me miss Axxess this year that much more because just seeing the pictures, part of the magic of first walking into Axxess is heading straight to the Mattel booth and getting to see Steve and Bill, and their faces are lit up because it's the first day. They're showing off all these new figures. They're super proud of their work. We're super happy for them. And that's part of the magic of it, right? But here this year, due to circumstances, of course, we got images, and we shouldn't let that take away from how good the figures are, because we did kind of get that special moment taken out from under us. It doesn't detract from how great these figures that we're about to talk about are. So, Jeff, without further ado, go for it.
Basic 109, there will be a Ricochet in a bodysuit.
That bodysuit, by the way, is Nightwing from DC Comics.
Batwings?
Not Batwings. Which, by the way, if you have excessive hair on your Batwings, WFP20 at manscaped.com will trim that right up for you.
Well done, Scott. Well done. Lana will be the variant. She will come in a blue outfit, and I think the variant was the orange. It might be backwards. I should have looked at that. My error. Sorry, guys.
Can we be clear on what that image is on the front of her outfit?
No.
Okay.
What was it?
I don't know. You look at it and you tell me.
All right, I'll have an answer for you tomorrow.
We've already gone, I think, our allotted blue to be able to work on this show. So I'm just going to leave that one alone and let the listeners decide for themselves what is exactly on the front of Lana's singlet.
Masters of the Universe Series 3. Rock. New Day will be Manny Faces. Strowman, he has these lobster claws. And there will be a glow-in-the-dark Undertaker. And Scott, I actually have an omission. I didn't think Masters of the Universe would be selling that well, but they're actually doing well.
I think it's great. I really do. And we were really kind of on the fence, I think. It was like we wanted it to do well because that is going to pump more money into Mattel to make more figures. And it's great for Mattel. It's great to see the fan base of both Masters of the Universe and WWE really getting out there and buying these figures up. And that's the one thing that we said too, is the line is going to be dependent on you hardcores that love MOTU and WWE. It's going to be you that drives the success of this line. And to everyone's credit, they're buying this thing in mass. So keep it going. I'm really curious to see how deep they're going to dive into He-Man lore to start pulling names out to mash up with WWE guys. I'm really excited to see where it continues to go. But you guys are doing a great job of keeping this thing going.
See, people are calling it the Masters of the Universe line. I actually call it the Remco line. Remco Series 3. That's what this is. Take off everything and they're Remcos.
This is what was after Matt Mania.
We will be having more top picks. Strowman, Ricochet, he will be in his Elite 69 jacket with white tights. Roman Reigns, and a Seth. So it looks like Seth and Strowman are the only ones that remain out of top picks.
Yeah, and not to spoil anything, Jeff, but there was a little bit of news in the Steve Ozer bit that talks about AJ and why he's not specifically not in top picks, but one of the reasons as to why he might not be in top picks. And we'll get to that in the next segment.
Elite 77, we have already discussed this, but the images were shown. Rick Rude will be the variant. Variant is with the IC title on the tights.
Can I just say that Rick Rude, dude, so great. I just love that figure. It is so perfect.
Now, are you going to be looking for the regular version and the variant?
100% don't care which one I get.
Gotcha.
I really don't, dude. They're both so great. I think that they captured his face perfectly. It's going to have a soft goods robe. Huge fan of that one. Love it.
The Fiend was shown in actual pictures with multiple hands, with gloves that say heal and hurt, with the head lantern as well. What'd you think of it, Scott?
That character was made to be an action figure. Like, I could see McFarlane doing a Fiend statue. Like, that guy, he's a character, right? He looks like he came right out of a comic book. And how can you not make a killer looking action figure based on... They didn't have to really like sculpt a face where it gets really specific. They sculpted the mask and they did an incredible job. The thing is awesome. I love it. I would love to see them do a statue of him at some point. If it's McFarlane or whoever has the statue license now. Is it NECA? Sideshow? I forget who it is. A Sideshow, I think, that has the license to do the statues. I would love to see the Fiend in anything. Put him in comic books. Like, that dude was made to be a character, and his first figure out of the chute is excellent. I can't wait to pick it up. I'm going to have to buy probably 2 or 3 of them because Peyton wants one, and she's definitely going to have one to hang up on the wall. She's going to want to open one up, and then I need one to put up on the wall. But here's the best part. Getting it signed. Does Bray show up to signings as the Fiend, or does he show up as Bray Wyatt?
He'll show up as Bray Wyatt.
You think so? I think it should be the Fiend.
Oh, I would hope he would be the Fiend, just for photo ops, but...
Oh, for sure. And then he doesn't even have to emote. Like, he's not smiling at all, right? He just puts the mask on and boom, he just goes out there and, dude, put the lantern on the table. Oh, man, that'd be so great.
Viscera will have the hardcore title with him and multiple hands that also have the Vulcan. It's like the V.
Not the Shocker, the Vulcan.
Yes, and Miss Elizabeth in her SummerSlam 88 dress.
Love that figure. Love that figure. And there's going to be a bit of news about that specific figure in the next segment with the Steve Ozer Q&A. He gives specifics as to the outfit that Elizabeth is wearing. And this would be her SummerSlam 88 outfit when she jumped up on the ring apron and took her skirt off to distract the Mega Bucks. And in turn, the referee, Jesse the Body Ventura. Work like a charm.
Elite 78. These were all renderings. Rendering Matt Riddle in his white tights, and does come with flip-flops, which I thought was really cool. How cool would that be if he had something on his sides where he would kick his legs? You'd press the button and his legs would kick out and the flip-flops would go?
Well, if they made a retro of him.
Oh.
I wouldn't do that on his Elite figure, dude. You can't gimmick up the Elite line. I really don't feel that that's a good move. That's definitely custom made, tailored, if you will, to a retro.
I love Matt Riddle, so definitely getting this one. Rendering Kofi will come with the tag title and a plate of pancakes. Rendering Randy Orton. R-Truth with the 24/7 title was also a rendering. Here is the variant, Naomi, with long green jacket and white women's title. Variant will be her in all green, the glow in the dark.
Finally, there's our answer of where's Naomi going to end up. Love it. I'm so happy that they finally found a home for that figure. We've been on the hook for that thing for like 2 years. Like, guys, we saw it. Like, when is it going to find a home? And here you go. She's been on TV more, so I'm sure there's a coincidence there as to why we're getting a Naomi figure, but I'm just happy the thing found a home. Super happy to get that figure.
And Scott, the Target exclusive, will be Superstar Billy Graham, yellow boa, extra Billy Graham head, and sunglasses. That extra Billy Graham head will be Billy Graham from the late 80s, where he kind of had that dyed little beard thing going on and the blonde going around it. The head that they showed on the rendering is old school Superstar Billy Graham.
Color me shocked. As much crap as that dude has talked about the WWE, I mean, didn't last year he just say something to the effect of Kofi should do steroids? Like, he's constantly putting his foot in his mouth, constantly talking crap about WWE. But look, apparently they can play nice enough together to where we get an amazing looking Superstar Billy Graham figure. I'm completely shocked. If you had thrown 100 names at me, I would have picked Billy Graham out of that list of 100 names as the figure that we would never see happen. But, again, never say never with Mattel. If Steve wants to get a dude in the line, he's going to get that dude in the line. That's why I'm so happy Steve is working with Mattel. He knows the wish lists, right? They sit down, they have these meetings, they start throwing names about. He knows. And that's why we got Harley in the... Well, nobody actually got that Harley. But that's why they made Harley in the flashback line. And that's why we're getting Superstar Billy Graham as a chase in this one. It's so great. So great. And the fact that they're doing 2 separate heads, you get the older Billy Graham from the late 80s, as you mentioned, Jeff, as Don Morocco's manager. And he did wrestle for a very, very short stint as well before he became The Rock's manager. Don The Rock Morocco, not The Rock. And then we get old school looking Billy Graham from the 70s. I just love it. Great figure. If I'm able to find it, definitely going to pick it up. And he's also one of the ones, if you ever meet Superstar Billy Graham and you get his autograph, he really takes his time when he signs that figure. I remember, Jeff, when I got his Classic Superstars figure signed, the amount of time he took signing that figure, I couldn't believe it. And he made sure every letter was full. He even put his little star logo on there. He really takes his time and makes sure you get a very, very nice looking autograph.
Also an Elite 78 Drake Maverick in black and white tights. They jumped up to Elite 83 and showed a rendering of Sasha Banks with purple hair and molded jacket with glasses and legit boss rings, which I believe was supposed to be an online exclusive, wasn't it, Scott?
I think so. That sounds right. I don't know for sure, but I'm glad that they're finding a home in just their regular Elite line for it.
Then they showed out on Elite 84 the grayed out rendering of Rhea Ripley, which a lot of people were excited for.
I'm definitely standing in line with those people that were super excited for that figure. I can't wait to see what the finished product is, because again, this was a grayed out sculpt, but I'm super excited to find this figure on the pegs.
Elite Legends Series 7, Greg Valentine will be the variant. He will be in yellow trunks. Regular will be in the black trunks, similar to his Hasbro. Also in that line, as we've discussed before, that they showed off at New York Toy Con, Bobby Heenan in the Weasel suit, Razor Ramon, and Sting. Then they showed off Elite Legends Series 8. Jake Roberts will have maroon trunks with Damien and a bag. The variant will be Jake in green trunks, which, spoiler alert, is a callback to his LJN.
I love when they do things like this. A couple of times they've done figures that either look like the Hasbro or look like the LJN. Same outfit. And I love when they do it. Right off the top of my head, the DiBiase in the green suit, the Rick Rude in the purple. Absolutely 100% love when they do callbacks to their Hasbro and LJN counterparts. And if I have to pick, I'm definitely going to go the LJN figure out of those two.
Eddie Guerrero with the curly blonde hair. Awesome looking Eddie. He'll have black tights on with the flames going up. Looks great. Rendering creator wrestler Paul Orndorff.
Yes.
What did I say, Scott?
We've got to give Travis Fowler credit for that one.
Okay, so when I saw it earlier in the day, I was like, oh, that's funny. He looks like a guy from Bond. But I was typing up the notes. I also interviewed Eric Arana from Boss Fight that same day, which you guys can go back and listen to. Great show. So I didn't get a chance to say anything about it, but Travis jumped in and said, hey, that guy looks like a creator wrestler, which is hilarious because I was thinking it looked like somebody from GoldenEye.
Yeah, you're right on both fronts. But yeah, Travis said it looks like a creator wrestler out of No Mercy, and I about lost it. He hit it right on the head. I remember looking at that one as I was scrolling through the figures that day, and I came across the Orndorff, and I'm like, oh, what did they do here? Chad Ecto Young all the time on Facebook will post like a funny looking thing like that. And above it, he'll put like, Mommy, can I go out and kill tonight? Like, that's the first thing that popped into my head when I saw that Orndorff. It's just bad. Hopefully the figure looks nothing like the rendering, which is usually the exact opposite of what you wish for. But this is one case. Hopefully the figure is way better than the rendering.
I have a feeling that it will be fine.
Yeah, they've done really, really well with Orndorff figures in the past. I don't think this one's going to be an exception.
And last, and one that shocked us all, it was a rendering, Ultimate Warrior from his Hall of Fame, where he was in the gray suit. It will come with an Ultimate Warrior mask that they were selling at the time, and extra hands. How stoked were you for this one, Scott?
Man, I love the Ultimate Warrior as a kid. It was great to be at WrestleMania 30 when they brought him out. I didn't go to his Hall of Fame speech, I'll be honest, but I was at WrestleMania 30, and when they brought him out, it brought back so many great memories of being a kid and cheering for Ultimate Warrior. And there's a lot of special ties to Ultimate Warrior in this house too, not just from me, but from Shannon, because she grew up a wrestling fan as well. Her dad he passed away in 2011. He had a chalk line Ultimate Warrior jacket if you remember from the late 80s in their catalog, they had those satin jackets that had the wrestlers on the back. They had Hogan, they had Warrior. I think they had a couple other guys too. But her dad had the Ultimate Warrior jacket. That was passed on to Shannon and is now sitting in our closet downstairs. And I've worn it a couple of times. And the Ultimate Warrior has special meaning to Shannon as well. So for both of us to be at WrestleMania 30 and see him come out, celebrate his Hall of Fame induction with the fans in attendance, and then for him to come out the next night on Raw and do that speech, that resonated with us, right? Because Ultimate Warrior, there's ties and bonds to her father that always bring back great memories. So for this figure to be released, and what makes it even more special, and this is another spoiler to the Steve Ozer Q&A, they're working on getting that jacket that he wore that night at the Raw, where he gave basically his send-off speech. They're trying to get that jacket put on the figure. They're working on it. If that happens, this could very well be, and again, we've only seen a rendering, this could very well be a figure of the year candidate for 2020. Not for sure, because we haven't seen the finished product, but for everything this figure is, at least for me and for Shannon, this could easily be my figure of the year for 2020, and that's saying a lot considering the figures that have come out so far. But awesome addition. We've actually had people write us about this figure, that it should be made. Here's Mattel recognizing it, stepping up, making a great looking figure that is going to be an awesome addition to the collection.
Wave 2 of the Decade of Domination set. Kofi Kingston in yellow trunks. It's his debut look. Triple H in biker shorts with sledgehammer and world title. Beth Phoenix, she'll be in a green outfit with women's title. Big Show will be coming with his fellow castmates on the Big Show show.
No, he won't. Stop lying to people, dude.
What?
Here you go again.
What?
Working heel, lying to the audience.
Oh, whoops. I misread that. Sorry, he's coming with a WrestleMania 24 chair.
Yeah, easy to see how it was. Easy mistake, yes.
And last, and by the way, these were all renderings, I should say. Kane from when he unmasked with the Kane mask and extra head. I am getting that Kane.
Yeah, that's a badass Kane, dude. Really cool looking figure.
And the facial expression that he has from when he turned around and he stared at RVD.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It's a rendering, so we don't know what it will look like when the final product comes out, but so far so good.
I wish somebody had talked Triple H out of the biker shorts.
Well, he had a groin injury at the time.
Oh, that's right, he did, so he kind of had to, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe he should have just taken the time off.
Groin injury.
Kudos to the people who know what that's from.
They showed off the China and Triple H figures, and we've already seen those. Ultimate Edition Series 5 Becky WrestleMania 35 outfit with 2 belts.
Did you just blow over Triple H in China?
We've already seen that, dude. That's old news. That was new. That was so New York Toy Fair, Scott.
That was so images released before they were supposed to be.
Ultimate Edition Series 6. The Rock, he will have 3 heads total. One with the eyebrow. There's a yelling face and a stoic Rock look. He'll have the Brahma Bull shirt, microphone, glasses, and extra set of hands, of course. They also showed off in Ultimate Edition Series 6, Charlotte Flair. The extra head will be her smiling.
From what I've seen on that figure, it looks really good, dude. And again, it was just a rendering, but if it can come even close, that's a great looking Charlotte figure. And Jeff, let's not forget too, there's going to be an RSC exclusive Edge, and he's got the big jacket on.
And in another big reveal from Axxess, grayed out rendering, Hulk Hogan. He will be Hollywood Hulk Hogan in Ultimate Edition Series 7, yes. WCW World Title, feather boa, and he will have an extra Hogan head. So, those were all the reveals from Axxess. Scott, how excited are you about the Hogan?
Man, here we all thought that it was going to be an elite NWO Hogan, but no, they take it next level and go Ultimate Edition. Feel however you feel about Hogan. I'm not going to argue with anybody about that. But again, as a kid that grew up in the 80s and then watched his epic heel turn to change the business again in 96, to get a figure of that in Ultimate Editions, man, this is the best part. Now we get to put that Hogan, the NWO Hogan, and we're going to go apples to apples here, right up against the Storm Collectibles Hogan, black and white. The best part about the WWE Mattel version is that they're actually going to be able to put NWO. They're going to be able to dress that thing up with all of their trademark stuff, whereas Storm had to kind of limit themselves to what they could use. WWE Mattel has like the full-blown, we're going to use whatever we want on this thing. So we're going to have to take deco out of it a little bit. And I know that Storms are a little more bulky, a little beefier, but this is really going to be an apples-to-apples comparison on Storm and Mattel, who can do NWO Hogan better. And now this makes me hope that there's going to be a red and yellow Hogan coming out in a future Ultimate Edition series, because we know that that line is going to run through 2021.
But the Storm figures were close in as far as body style to Hogan's body in the 80s. And, well, in the 90s, he kind of lost some weight.
Yes.
But the bulkier body that Storm had, I thought, was very reminiscent of his body type.
Well, I agree 100%, and that's why I think Storm is superior right now. But Mattel shooting right out of the gate with an Ultimate Edition Hogan as their first Hogan offering in years. So I'm super excited to see the finished product. I think it's the right call. 100% the right call, because you can dress this thing up with enough accessories to completely warrant an Ultimate Edition offering. 100% warrants an Ultimate Edition as first Hogan figure in years. Whereas the Nakamura defining moment and maybe that Cena were cash grabs in the defining moment series, they shouldn't have maybe been. Even the Sting, Great American Bash Sting, I think was a cash grab as a defining moment. This, as an Ultimate Edition, is 100% validated and worth every penny. And again, say what you will about Hogan, I'm not going to argue it, but to be able to get Hogan figures again outside of Storm, to be able to get all of his trademark stuff on the NWO Hogan figure, I think is incredible.
Scott, we do have a transcript of some important questions for Steve Ozer over on the Wrestling Figs message boards. But before we do, why don't you talk about Bane's beard oil?
Yes. Guys, if you have a beard and you're on lockdown right now, you've got to be taking care of it. And I can speak from experience. I've been in the house for a shade over about 2.5 weeks now. And I'm like, I don't really need to see people. I'm not going to do anything with the beard, because I normally will put at least oil in my beard every single day. Every single day I'd put oil in my beard, and it kept it nice and soft, gave it a nice shine. But I've been really bad the last 2.5 weeks. I'm like, screw it, I'm just in the house. I'm not going to use it. I have noticed a huge difference. It got wiry, and it was like kind of like stiff and gross. It was like my downstairs hairs were like now my upstairs hairs, and I didn't like that at all. I don't want the little wiry stringies going on the face. All bad. So I got back into the oil habit, and it just goes to show that the more you use it, it conditions your beard. It keeps it nice. So guys, again, if you have a beard, definitely have to take care of it. That's where Bane comes in. He has a great selection of balms and oils for your beard. Head over to outsidersbeardco.com, where at checkout, save yourself 10% using code FullyPoseable10. Put that code at checkout, save yourself 10%, show Bane some love, because you don't want your beard hairs smelling like your butt hairs. Head over to outsidersbeardco.com. At checkout, enter code FullyPoseable10, save yourself 10%, take care of your beard.
Very well done, Scott. Now it is time to head over to Axxess Q&A with Steve Ozer 2020. First question out of the chute, somebody asked, no NWO shirt for Ultimate Edition Hollywood Hogan? Steve said he will have a shirt, possibly two, if we can swing it. For Billy Graham, is he going to come with one of his tie-dye t-shirts, or maybe the 77 WWF World title? Steve said no title, but he will have a tie-dye shirt.
That sucks. I just got to say it, when they can't include the certain title, like, for example, NWA tag titles, in this case, the old WWF World title, man, it just seems like a little bit of a missed opportunity. And I know that there's sticking points to being able to use certain belts or certain titles. I understand that. It just sucks, because as a fan, we want those titles with the figures, because the more titles that you amass in your collection, I think titles just add a certain something to a figure inside of a package. And being an MOC guy, the more titles for me, the better. Even loose, the more title belts you had, it just felt cool. You know, to have a big old pile of belts. Okay, the guys are going to wrestle for this one now. You just grab one out of a stack. but it just seems like a missed opportunity, and I really wish that Mattel had the rights to use more titles, and not just from WWF, but here from WWF, also from WCW and WA. I hope that the belt family grows for Mattel in the future.
Next question, is Jake coming out for sure in the Legends line, or with him now heavily featured on AEW, is he in risk of being pulled? And if he does come out, will he have a full run, or will his release be limited because he is now with another company? Steve only answered full run. Regarding the gray 3D renderings of Hulk Hogan and Rhea Ripley, in general, when a figure is shown off at that stage, how long has said figure been in the works and how much long before they appear on shelves? Steve says depends. Hogan will probably be available via online retailer by the end of the year. Rhea most likely early 2021. Next question, any chance of the NXT UK women's title coming with Elite Rhea? Steve says stay tuned. I gotta say, Steve answered that quite a bit, saying stay tuned, and I have said that so many times in the past where he says stay tuned or anything can happen, or I was like, I'm going to avoid a lot of those questions because that is just, it gets redundant after a while.
Yeah, what you're not going to see a lot of here is this guy going to get made? Is this guy going to get made? There are a couple, but it just really seems that they've answered those questions so many times with the same exact answer of if we can do them, we'll do them, that I think people are starting to realize maybe I stop asking about certain guys.
With a character like Shawn Michaels that wore several pieces of attire as entrance gear, is there ever a consideration of breaking that entrance gear up over several figures to make them as accurate as possible without cutting into the tooling budget? For example, Flashback Shawn only came with the red entrance vest, but no chaps. If a WrestleMania 11 Shawn were to be made, the chaps to match the vest would be cool addition. Collectors could mix and match the attires without having to wait for an Ultimate Edition or an exclusive. Similar question for managers. An Elizabeth figure could be released with Randy's entrance jacket following the release of Macho Man with cowboy hat sunglasses. Final question, is there a chance of dioramas making a return? The neon entrance from 92, the Raw entrance letters from 96, and the original Nitro entrance would all arguably do well. They could also be staggered over several releases throughout the year rather than a gimmick for a single set of store exclusives. The WCW figure that comes with the W for the diorama could also be the figure with the chase attire. Would increase the chances of collectors buying both to get both. So Steve said, gear or accessories with other talent. This hasn't been typically possible. Can't get into details on why. Maybe the idea can be revisited down the road. Dioramas, maybe under the right retail circumstances. I almost left that question off just because the word retail.
Yes. Because we know what that means. That, you know, hey, if Toys R Us comes back full force, sure, that becomes a possibility.
2 questions about the new upcoming Raw promo Ultimate Warrior. 1, is the head the same as the exclusive 1 of 15 figure? Will this Warrior also come with the duster he wore that night? Steve said, for the first question, same head as the limited 2K Warrior. For the second question, we are working on including the duster.
Bingo. That really could escalate it to figure of the year, dude.
What, if it includes the duster?
100%. Yeah, it's already amazing, especially because it does come with that Warrior mask that he put on at the end of his promo on Raw. But if they include the jacket with it, dude. Just, I know the job they do on those dusters, i.e. the WrestleMania 7 Defining Moment Warrior, the, the Ultimate Edition Ultimate Warrior from his WCW run. They do an incredible job on those. And if they can include it with this one, that's going to be a home run.
Next question. Is it too late to correct the tights on the WrestleMania 2 Jake the Snake? It's still a great figure, but it should have double snake heads. Steve said Jake's deco is final. Not sure if Bill truly went with WrestleMania 2 or a different set of reference photos for this one. Next question. Will Eddie's figure from Ultimate Legends come with the Poppy shirt? Steve said stay tuned for what shirt Eddie will come with. Will the Divas belt with Natty have the Scratch or Network logo? Steve said the Divas title looks like it has the Scratch logo to me on the sculpt submission. Next question. Since Orndorff can be made, I assume it's safe to say that legends associated with the concussion lawsuit are now on the table. So does that mean we could start seeing figures like Coco Beware and new figures of King Kong Bundy and Demolition again? Steve said, not safe to assume.
Sad.
Yeah, you know what's funny is when I saw Orndorff pop up, I was thinking, this is it. We're getting LOD figures. Here it comes.
Yeah. I really hope that they're able to get more of these guys under the Mattel umbrella. I really do. It's good to see Orndorff as kind of a start to that. I actually condone this guy's question because normally I don't like when they're like, are we going to get this guy? Are we going to get this guy? This was a valid question off of the lawsuit, and hopefully it does open that door.
That green Jake is amazing. Is it paying homage to the LJN figure? Steve says, yes, it is. Hey, Steve, are you using butterfly joints on the Ultimate Edition Hogan? Steve said, yes. Hulk will be the first Ultimate figure to include butterfly shoulders. What went into the thought process of changing up the Decade of Destruction? See, he says Decade of Destruction. Everybody calls it something different. It's like Decade of Domination, Decade of Dominance, Decade of Destruction, Decade of Decadence.
Yeah, we're going to call it whatever we want.
What went into the thought process of changing up the Decade of Destruction Cena so much? I personally like the way it came out better. Steve said the intention was always there for Cena to have a different jersey than the Defining Moment version. We just couldn't make the changes happen and get them approved before New York Toy Fair, so we showed the work-in-progress version at the show. When was the last time anyone within Mattel even brought up retros? Steve said no one brings up retros unless they have some direct involvement in the line. That'd be me and two of the designers and a few other team members. It's on my mind most days. Don't worry.
Good. I hope it's haunting his dreams.
Wow, Scott, you are very bitter about those retros.
Yes, very much so. I still hope Steve is sleeping well, but I hope he's having like dreams of retros jumping out of the sky and landing on top of him, people throwing retro figures at him. Never forget.
Next question, is there a rough estimate on when Legends 2 will be available? Steve says fall. Is Miss Elizabeth's dress 2 pieces or just 1? Steve says 2. Skirt is removable, just like the match.
Excellent. Love it. Great callback to SummerSlam 88. I dig it.
Can you tell us what accessories will be with Orndorff? He says extra set of hands and a red soft goods robe.
And a Creator Wrestler template for Paul Orndorff in No Mercy.
Hello, will you be able to relaunch the figure of Eddie Guerrero Legends Series 6 with the new scan FX and belt of the non-opaque shiny WWE that was launched? Steve says it could be redone at some point, but it's way down the priority list, to be honest. Would want to focus on some new looks first. Next question. I am blown away by the new Jake the Snake figures. Jake is getting a lot of love on those boards.
Dude, he really is.
That LJN one is the one I've wanted since the line started, and the head sculpt is perfect. My fear, however, is that we might see him get pulled from the lineup due to his involvement with AEW. I saw you mention that the deco is too late to change, so is it safe to say that this figure is far enough along that it won't end up getting canceled? That is a great question. Steve's answer, I can't predict the future or guarantee you anything, but as of yesterday, as you saw, WWE had approved for reveal and revealed themselves the Jake figures. If there's a sudden change of mind by the licensor, there's nothing that can be done. I'm hopeful the figure continues to move along as planned.
As do we. If that figure gets canceled, we riot.
Are you really going to riot?
Well, I'll scream inside my house, but that's about as far as it'll go.
Because that's where we're going to be when this figure gets released.
Exactly. We're going to have to give it the finger poke of doom.
Manscaped.com, WFP20.
They got a light on the thing.
Is the Masters of the WWE Universe line performing well? I personally love the figures and have bought everything that's been released so far. I hope it continues beyond the planned third wave. Steve says it's doing great. We'll have more WWE Motu surprises for you soon.
I bet that was Travis's question.
It had to be Travis's question. Next question, will the collector's editions be flashback only going forward? Meaning the store exclusives, targets, all that stuff. Steve says, nope, you'll continue to see the traditional strategy for the most part, but it may need to deviate from that from time to time. Next question, have you guys ever considered 1 of 1,000 or 1 of 500 auto figures on bubble or card, etc.? Steve says not likely to happen. Do you see mail-away figures making a comeback? Steve says anything can happen, but I really don't think so.
Ooh. Those were so much fun, dude. I loved the mail away options.
Cutting off the UPC code on the back or whatever it was, the barcode, and sending it away.
Yeah, exactly. And then you'd wait for it. And then sometimes you'd forget that you had sent away for it, and it just shows up one day, and you're like, oh my gosh, I got my figure. They were such a staple of the 80s toy lines, and some in the 90s, as we all remember the mail away Hasbros. It would be such a cool thing for them to do to bring that back. Again, just sending these little love letters to their figure counterparts from the 80s and 90s. I think that's such a cool thing to do, but apparently they don't think so.
They need to update it. Honestly, they need to update it where you can just scan the UPC code for the mint on card collectors. Just scan it to an app, pay your $15.99 plus shipping or $20.99 plus shipping, and you get the mail away.
Or at least do the receipt barcode, because otherwise you could just walk into the store and start scanning UPCs.
Good call, good call. Yeah, the receipt barcode. That's actually a good call.
Yeah, that way it's proof that you paid for it. I mean, if they take it back after the fact, you're going through a lot of work to get a mail away. That's kind of a waste of time. But maybe that's a way around it. But again, they don't see value in it, so much like Matty Collector.
There it is. Ogata, will we ever see Build-A-Figure pieces packed in with the Legends series that has returned? He says no Build-A-Figures in Legends. Is Mattel working on any new cages to go with either the Elite Scale ring or the basic ones that stores sell? Asking for a friend's son, he has been dying for a cage to go with his NXT ring. Steve says new cages are always a possibility. They should theoretically come in and out every few years.
Great question. Absolutely a great question. And hopefully, you know what's surprising about this whole thing too? Nothing about the Elite Scale stage.
Oh, yeah. That wasn't asked this year.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
It's surprising. It's almost like people have forgotten about it, but we're all about never forget, man. From the Naomi figure, now to the Elite Scale stage, never forget. But I that's a great question about the cage, because I think the staple of a good ring is to have a cage with it. That is the war to settle the feuds, right? Like that is the write-off to a feud when you have a cage match. At least that was in the old school. I think they should make way more cages for rings.
Next question, will The Fiend have a leather jacket, or jacket at all, that comes with him? Steve says the first release will not. Ultimate Edition one should. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's a great call right there, dude. Absolutely. And all of the puppets as well.
Next question, why no love for Surfer Sting? There's a Sting currently coming. Let this one see release first before expecting the announcement for another. Gotta give talent a little space between releases. Oh, really? AJ Styles and Finn Balor?
And Seth?
Just kidding. Any possibility Ultimate Edition series could expand the number of figures in each series? Steve says doesn't seem likely.
I would guess because of price point.
I would have to say so.
Yeah.
I think two is good.
Yeah, it's a solid assortment, and you really don't need any more than 2 at a time.
Early Undertaker wore a cloth coat, but his figures from that era have either had a soft goods leather or plastic molded coat. Is there a production cost reason as to why we have never got a cloth coat for him, or is it just a design call? Steve says design choice as far as I know. Man, we are picky. Holy crap.
We are
Can't
picky.
we just ever be happy?
No. As you see, they could release like the best figures and we'll still find something to nitpick at.
Does that happen with other toy lines too?
You know what? I'm not involved with a lot of other toy lines, but I can tell you in reading people's responses to the new G.I. Joe line, people are already shredding it, nitpicking every little thing. And they've only shown, 5 figures so far, something like that. And it's just like with wrestling figures. You have a group that loves it, you have a group that hate it, and you have a group that nitpicks every design choice. That's just how passionate we are, dude. It's not a good or a bad thing. It's just that's our passion, and we love to talk about it. So whether it's good or it's bad or it's nitpick, it's a topic of conversation.
Next question, would a Hollywood Velveteen Dream Hollywood Hogan Elite 2-pack be possible? Steve says it's an option, but to be honest though, there's only a small amount of Elite 2-packs a year, and this one wouldn't be high on the list. Will Ultimate Edition Charlotte have her matching pink peacock robe? Steve says Charlotte will have her entrance robe. Can we get the first Macho Man Ultimate Edition in the 96 Halloween Havoc attire? Steve says it won't be this look, Bill and I have already chosen Macho Man's look for whenever he gets plugged into the line. I can honestly say that almost every suggested attire and idea on the boards here has come across our minds as a collective team. We really want to deliver what you guys want. We want to own them as well.
It's going to be WrestleMania 5 Macho Man, dude. Watch.
It has to be.
Yeah, I'm really thinking WrestleMania 5 Macho.
Anybody that differs, we will take bets.
Yeah. Yes. Toilet paper rolls. That's what we're wagering.
It sounds like from one of your posts that the only way you could get Billy Superstar Graham in a lineup is an exclusive. Would it not be so rewarding if that figure sold like gangbusters to prove you were right? Steve says not necessarily what I said, but just the exact circumstances this time. Sorry, but I can't go into further details.
Ooh, he's so mysterious.
I'm very happy to finally have him included, though, and I'm hoping he won't be as difficult to obtain as you all may think. Stay tuned. It will be.
Come on.
I have no hope. I legitimately have no hope.
Yeah.
It will be nearly impossible.
Yeah.
With the reveal of Ultimate Edition 6 being concept pictures only, which is Charlotte and Rock, how much longer do you think we have until we see actual protos? Steve says pretty soon, probably. Keep in mind, none of us are in the office right now, and there was no Axxess where we could possibly show 3D prints, prototypes, or test shots, so renderings were the best solution for a lot of these reveals. Next question, now that he's available again, could we finally see Python Power Hulk Hogan in the line? Steve says we'll do as many Hulk figs as we can, just getting started here. Next question, do you ever worry you won't have that WoW figure for a reveal? Like last year, Comic-Con, everyone was shocked with China. You ever get nervous that the big name won't be available for a showing like you hope and you use them all at the showing before? Steve says, nope, I strategically plan out the reveals so this doesn't happen. While a big new name like China or Hulk isn't always possible, we should always have amazing new desired figures in the pipeline. Has there been any progress you can speak of certain big superstars that have yet to be made in the line like Scott Steiner? Steve says, nothing I can speak on. If anyone new were to be signed, it would be revealed properly. I'd like to know more about the decision to go with soft goods outfits versus sculpted or rubber jacket, capes, etc. I'm not a fan of soft goods, especially when it's a primary apparel. I feel like it's more like dolls with significant amount of fabric for a dress or jacket. Do you feel it adds to sales or more of a visual appeal? I would love to see Miss Elizabeth or Sherry with a sculpted dress or the rubberized material like Jimmy Hart's coat. Steve says depends on a lot of factors: design preference, tooling budget, licensor input, cost of soft goods, tooling reuse potential, perceived consumer desire, and more. Each time is looked at on a case-by-case basis and decisions are made. You know, I think that rubberized Polly Pocket style, we call it, Scott, it looks good for certain figures, but it doesn't look good. It's not needed on all. Like, I will say that it looked good on the Tyler Breeze TNF Elite. It was needed for the Harley figure, but most of the items need the cloth outfits. I tend to lean that way, and that's probably the old school guy in me that loved the AWA figures.
Yeah, definitely. And there's always going to be a preference either way. Obviously, you're seeing here this guy doesn't care for the cloth goods, whereas we love it. But ultimately, I can see the value of both sides depending on the figure. Like you mentioned, the Tyler Breeze TNF, we could go with the Sting, the Elite Sting that was in his white outfit with the molded jacket. Even his Great American Bash defining moments. Sometimes the molded does look better. And I think that sometimes a hybrid of the two would be incredible too. Like, I think that Sting Great American Bash defining moment, which we actually went over in Nostalgia recently, would have been great as a molded jacket, but maybe with cloth tassels on it. So it had a kind of a weird look the way the tassels were molded. Maybe if those were cloth. So maybe there's a happy medium somewhere, but I'm with you, Jeff. I lean more towards the cloth, but a lot of times it just depends on the figure and which one looks best.
Without naming anyone, because I know you can't, do you see any of those guys involved in the lawsuit possibly being made available now or at some point? Steve says, as history has proven, anything can happen. I don't think you'll be seeing many, if any, very soon, though, to be honest. Hopefully down the road. Can you confirm if the standard elite Naomi also will include the glow-in-the-dark championship? This guy asked 2 questions. Steve will answer the first one. I believe they both have the same glow title, but I honestly don't 100% remember at the moment. Next question. If a talent re-debuts with a new gimmick, how soon do you guys get reference photos? Steve says talent reference depends on a variety of factors. Could be the next day, could be weeks, could even be before the debut in some cases. That was a nice little behind-the-scenes stuff right there.
For sure.
In your experience, does gaining the rights to a big individual talent like Hogan, for example, make it more likely that Mattel would request and or WWE would likely approve characters like Rodman, Zeus, Mr. T, etc. to be marketed along with them? Steve said, well, I'm the one making the request, so no, it doesn't make things more or less likely, nor does it change the chances of the requested talent actually getting signed.
Man, I would say, though, I would love to have a Mr. T figure. Well, shoot, give me a Rodman and a Zeus, too. Why not?
Well, we have Mr. T in the Remco line from the Rocky.
True. Very true. So we could match him up with the Masters of the Universe line. But
yes.
But we could use a good Mattel scale Mr. T and Zeus and Rodman. Bring it.
Somebody asked, have you already started planning the release of the Boneyard Undertaker? Steve said, well, I won't be working officially again until Monday, so no, but it would only make sense to try and get this look out.
On a motorcycle, preferably, since they're making vehicles, apparently.
How cool would it be if AJ came in a coffin? Now that AJ I would buy.
Or Becky in a big rig.
Oh, yeah. Good call. How far ahead do you guys have the Ultimate Edition line planned? Is it still just a couple of waves for next year, or do you have all of 2021 mapped out? Steve said 2021 talent is selected.
So we're going to get a Macho Man.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that pretty much hit the green light right there that tells us we are going to get a Macho.
And Bill and Steve have already figured out what the Macho's going to look like.
Yep, WrestleMania 5.
Next question. I've always assumed a figure of Steve Mongo McMichael would be unlikely due to his in-ring partnership with Jarrett, Deborah, and a guy we can't name, who was on Vice's Dark Side of the Ring first 2 episodes, and those individual circumstances with WWE. So would you say this is not a type of consideration you personally make before the request for WWE? Steve said that shouldn't be a factor at all. Mongo didn't do anything to absolutely disqualify himself from a potential figure. Neither did Deborah or Jarrett, for that matter. Just comes down to sell-through viability and them being made available to us. Somebody said this may be a dumb question, but what would be a reason Macho Man wouldn't be available possibly down the road? He isn't alive, so what would be the reasoning of losing his rights? Steve says if his estate or licensors chooses not to re-sign for whatever reason. Somebody says, let's say someone like Jeff Jarrett were signed. Would he fit the bill to be an Ultimate, or would you have him in the Legends line or the regular Elite line? Steve said, I could see Jeff in all of those lines. He has a few very distinct looks and tons of different gear within those looks. Next question, can we have a Shawn Michaels dressed as Hulk Hogan in future? Yeah, just buy the Jax one.
Get the Jax one.
Steve said Shawn as Hulk, maybe not, we'll see. Somebody asked, is Giant Gonzalez available to you? Steve said Giant Gonzalez is not available, or he would already have a figure or one in the pipeline. That one seems to be a bit of a long shot, though. Somebody asked, can you say when exactly Hogan was available to you guys again? Steve said, this may sound a little too crazy to be believed, but I received the green light to move forward with Hogan figures on January 23rd, which, if you know your Hulkster history, is the birthday of Hulkamania. Pretty cool coincidence.
Dude, goosebumps.
You got the GBs going on over there?
That's so cool. That is so cool that he's finally getting figures made, and that's when he found that's perfect. I love it. Put a nice little bow on that one. Boom, done.
Steve, have your guys thought about putting out a Jimmy Hart with 2 jackets like how you did with Gorilla? It would be great to see him with a Natural Disasters jacket, Rhythm and Blues, Nasty Boys, etc. Steve said totally possible.
Well, hey, there's your Ultimate Edition Jimmy Hart. That's a hell of an idea. I love that. Give that dude 2 cookies. That's a great question.
Next question, is George, aka One Man Gang Akeem, available at the moment? I would love One Man Gang, especially with the denim vest and chain and slick. I would also like to see Akeem with a matte material yellow entrance garb. The shine on the jersey material used for the existing figure bothers me. And can you also comment on Bruce Pritchard and Brother Love? Steve says standard answer here. If they were available, they would already have figures or have some in the pipeline. And regarding Bruce Pritchard, I definitely wouldn't spoil any new signings with a post in a forum or on social media, though. They get a proper reveal they deserve.
Dude, if they made a slick, oh man, that would be incredible. That's definitely. Oh, I would absolutely lose it. That's definitely one of the guys that is missing. I mean, Mattel has done a ton of wrestlers. Their library is just amazing to me. But there are a few omissions. Of course, we know Owen Hart, but I'm going to throw Slick up there too. They've got to make a Slick figure. While they're at it, just do all the managers. I mean, I'm loving that Classy Freddie Blassie is getting an inclusion, but I mean, you got to start getting on board with Albano. They've got a Heenan coming out in the next Legends series. You've got to make a Slick. Keep it going. Give us a Valiant too. Why not? But keep it going. Give us a Mr. Fuji too.
Do you, Mattel, feel like you have to hit Hogan's likeness out of the park, even more so after Storm's releases? Steve says it's always the goal to nail a likeness. I don't feel Storm's sculpt is something that needs to be competed with. I love their figures and collect the Hulk figs along with the Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, and feel like they are their own style, a bit stylized and bulky. That's funny. I felt the figures replicated Hogan well.
I do too. And look, of course, that's a great answer by Steve. He's towing the company line. But dude, as a collector, of course I'm going to take their NWO Ultimate Edition Hogan and put it next to the Storm Collectibles Hogan. Of course I'm going to do that, and I'm going to decide which one's better, because right now Storm holds the crown. So for me, it's very close to the same scale of Hogan, so of course there's going to be a competition. Of course there's going to be a who did it better.
Next question. Any chance you could elaborate on what factors go into deciding who makes the cut? Stuff like popularity and how prominently a talent is being featured, I'm guessing. Steve said there could be a number of factors weighed for returning talent to the line. Timing, how long since last figure was released, how the last figure sold, do we already have this superstar in the works in a different gear? Is this talent in other lines at the moment? What line is this figure best suited for? Elites, Basics, 2-packs, exclusives, gear options, accessory options, current popularity, perceived consumer demand, forward thinking, how in demand will this be in roughly a year when the figure actually gets released, tooling cost, deco cost, balancing the lineup talent-wise, balancing the lineups from a cost perspective, other talents who may not have a figure yet. Is this talent being worked with for gear integration, i.e. Velveteen and Ali, licensor feedback, contractual status, and more?
Oh, is that all?
That's just a couple things.
Piece of cake. Sign me up.
Steve, he only asked for like a couple things.
What? Yeah, that was a number of things for sure.
The guy followed up, wow, thanks for all the insight. It's wild to think how much goes into it, especially considering the time frame from conception to release is around a year. Are there any examples you can think of figures backfiring? Someone you thought would be more sought after initially, but the hype had died down by the time the figure was available. Steve said things have typically gone well lately with releases, but the business is very dynamic, and things can change in an instant like a talent leaving the company. Just as a figure comes out or someone's momentum slowing down, as you mentioned. AJ's heel turn could be a good example. Retailers couldn't get enough AJ figures, but as soon as the heel turn happened, figure sales do get affected. So then we pivot, but take some time.
What if they release like an adult video? I wonder how that affects figure sales.
We'll find out in the China figure.
Actually, I was going for Lars, but wow, dude. You went China. Wow.
What?
Well, there's two shining examples of we'll wait and see what the sales are like.
So that was all of Steve's questions. Steve, thank you for doing those. As always, provide us content for the show, and it's fun reading them to the listeners. Again, I pulled a lot of the questions out that were a lot of the stay tuned, just stuff like that. Maybe I could have even done that with the Brother Love question as well, Bruce Pritchard. I could have pulled that question, but I left that one in as it was part of that guy's question. But poor guy has to answer so many of the same questions over and over. And kudos to him for doing that over 4 days. and having the patience to sit down and actually do that, kudos to him, man.
I'm sure it's a grind, but at the same time, if you love what you're doing, you probably don't mind getting those questions as much, right? He could have a crappier job.
So Scott, overall, what did you think of the Axxess reveals?
I love it. And again, I know maybe some people feel like we had the rug pulled out from under us on this thing because we didn't get to see them in person or streaming from somebody that's at the Axxess event. But again, we did get the reveals. We got them. The figures are fantastic. So let's not take away from the great job that Mattel did on the releases that were shown. I love it. As always, Mattel never fails to just blow me away with their offerings, with their sculpting jobs, with their accessories. Great figures all around. Super excited for the Fiend. Again, that dude was just made to be an action figure, a statue, you name it. He can fit into all of it. Put him in a comic book. Great to see his first one right out of the gate is a home run by Mattel. So again, just super excited for what's to come from Mattel. And it's keeping them at the top with Storm and their releases, with Boss Fight, with FTC, with Super 7. There is so much competition. It's really pushing Mattel to stay at the top of their game. And these releases didn't disappoint.
Yeah, they really didn't. The Hogan was definitely surprising. The China and Triple H would have been surprising, but...
Spoiler. But dude, how about Superstar Billy Graham? If he's not the big shocker, I mean, come on.
Well, the extra head, the two different looks of Billy Graham was fantastic. It was a rendering, so we'll see what the final product looks. But from those renderings to capture Billy Graham from the 70s and Billy Graham from the late 80s, oh man, that blew me away, and that was awesome.
Well, not just to capture him perfectly, but also the fact that they were able to get him in figure form. I mean, again, just kind of going back to our discussion on him, you would think that dude would be buried by WWE at this point. Like, they would want nothing to do with him, especially after his stupid-ass comments last year about Kofi should take steroids. And he wasn't kidding. Like, he has talked so much crap. He sold his Hall of Fame ring. Like, I mean, that guy has just talked so much crap about WWE, but then we're getting a figure of him. And I love it. I think it's great. It's paying homage to Billy Graham from the 70s all the way to the late 80s. I love it. I think it's a home run figure. And it just goes to show that no matter what, never say never with a dude getting a figure. Because like I said, if you had handed me 100 names and Billy Graham was in that list, I would have pulled Billy Graham out as he is the one out of those 100 names that is no way going to get a figure made by Mattel. And boom, Steve makes it happen. So again, never say never. He was the shocker for me, but I think the takeaway from me on this one was the Hogan Ultimate Edition. I think it's awesome that they put the first Hogan figure right out of the gate in the UE line. Huge, huge fan of that decision. It's going to 100% warrant being in the Ultimate Edition because there's enough accessories, extra heads, etc. that can be put with them. Super excited for that figure. It's definitely a must-own. Maybe have to get 2 of those.
One thing I did want to point out, I forgot to mention this. In the grayed out rendering, Hogan was wearing trunks. I'm pretty sure since it's going to be Hollywood Hogan, he will have the pants on. It was a grayed out rendering. It was early. Be patient on that one. The tights, I'm almost 100% sure they're going to put him in tights because never once did he wear trunks while he was NWO.
Well, see, my takeaway from that is maybe they've got the red and yellow Hogan Ultimate Edition in the pipeline and they just use that bottom for that specific figure.
Yeah, possibly. That's a good call.
I'm hoping.
That rounds out tonight's episode. Thank you to everyone for listening to me ramble about Steve Ozer's questions, but it kind of gives a good little insight to what goes on in the thought process, just a little background into Mattel, just especially like that last question that he just answered, where it's basically about timing, licensor, all that stuff. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So anyways, that rounds out episode 220. Want everyone to head over to WrestlingToyTracker.com where you guys can get the average prices on LJNs, Hasbros, Galoobs, Just Toys Bendoms, and Retros. Go over there, check it out if you are in the hunt for figures. See how much figures loose or mint on card are going for. Ryan takes the 3-month average of sold listings on eBay, puts them into a spreadsheet, and pumps it out onto WrestlingToyTracker.com. So again, Wrestling Toy Tracker or on Twitter at _tracker. Scott Eaglemoss.
Yes, guys, if you have a pop culture or WWE fan in your life and you are looking for a gift for that certain someone, look no further than Eaglemoss. Give them a look on Twitter. Give them a follow at @HeroCollector_. They've got a bunch of great properties under their umbrella, from WWE to Batman to Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica. You name it, they most likely have it. Give them a look on Twitter at @HeroCollector_.
This is usually the spot where I start reading off the podcast buddies, but tonight I'm going to throw it back to the people that were involved on the wrestling rings for Scott and I. You guys really made this week's special, which for Celeste and I is going to be a rough week, but you guys provided such a bright light. Thank you to everyone. And I'm going to read those names again. Breaker and Bane, check out Breaker and Bane's Power Hour, of course. Just recorded with Breaker, and you're up next, Scott.
I am recording with Breaker next week. Yes, sir.
Eric over at Doing the Favor. Barry. Tara. What? What's wrong?
Say his name.
Barry.
Speak my name.
No, Eric and Barry over at Doing the Favor. I want to thank Good Sister Tara, Toy Guru, Rad Chad, Mike the Cleaner, Tim, a.k.a. a Chair Shot, Drew Venzel, Nate, Ring Skirts, Ralphie Vibes, Jordan Cassat, Hova, Ethan, James Frank, and GBM, and of course Soda Hunter. I want to thank you guys again. Thank you so much. Those rings meant so much to me, and the thought process that you guys went to put those things together for us is awesome. And you guys were going to have them for us at the Fig Life Meetup 3, but that was awesome what you guys went through and what you guys did. So thank you to everyone that chipped in, had ideas for it, and went to the extent that you guys did. So thank you again. Scott, roll call.
Well, to tie roll call into your shout out there, Jeff, I'm going to throw it out to Jason Wolf. Give him a follow on Twitter at JasonWLF. If you need artwork, hit up Jason. He will hook you up. He will take care of you from start to finish. You're going to be 100% satisfied with what you get from him. His artwork is second to none. Absolutely incredible. And that is the artwork, Jeff, that you can find not only on our Series 3 cardback shirt, but also the artwork on that custom ring box that you were just mentioning. Again, Jason absolutely kills it every time. Check out the pictures on our social media. It's incredible. And just seeing the bridge built to you and I way back in the day, just playing with wrestling figures, to current day, talking about figures. I have so much love for that design, so much love for everybody that made that a reality. And to echo what Jeff said, guys, thank you. You're never taken for granted. You touch our hearts every single time you do something like that, and I can't thank you enough.
Absolutely. Scott, for episode 221, anything else?
Fig Life since 2016. We love you, Love Gun, and happy toy hunting.
Yes, thank you to Gunner for 13 and a half wonderful years. Thank you to everyone for listening to episode 221. Hashtag Fig Life. Adios.
Yeah. Fully poseable. Let's go. Jeff and Scott, the Toon Brothers, busting out the ring, but we don't take it out the box. MOC. Happy toy hunting. We'll see you next week with the OGs of WFP. Fully poseable. Thank you all for listening. It ain't no storyline, real life siblings. So everybody go and do your toy spotting. Hashtag Fig Life. Adios from the Kings.
I wanted salmon. I said it 4 times. This is bullshit.